welcome. If you're new to the channel, my name is Elliott and you're watching Rickety Ski Reviews. Today we're talking about something a little bit different. We're gonna talk about the Look Pivot 18. Now, this took a long time to review. I am a completely independent reviewer. This was not provided to me. I spent my own money last year on evo.com buying the Look Pivot 18. This is not the current generation, which is why I found it on sale last summer, but all of my critiques and everything I feel about this will remain true to the next gen Look Pivot, just by virtue of like the fundamentals and things that have not changed. But, you know, take that with a grain of salt, I guess. If you like independent reviews and you want to help keep our channel going, we will have affiliate codes down below. It doesn't cost you anything extra. I'll put a bunch of the deals that I've kind of found right now, and you can use those if you're shopping for skis or if you're buying bindings in general. And that allows me to be independent without having to take notes from Look or any other binding company. And you know, just as proof, here I will show my invoice from buying these bindings last summer. I had these mounted at my local shop onto these Atomic Bent 110s. I specifically chose the Bent 110 because I felt like it was a ski that does well in powder, but you can still manage to carve on it, so I wanted to kind of get a feel for how the bindings feel on multiple conditions. Obviously the Bent 110 would not be your first choice for a carving ski, but you can actually carve it, and it was a ski that I had reviewed last year, so I already had kind of a baseline understanding of how I like the ski without having that affect the binding. I'm a pretty big skier. I'm 6'1", 240 pounds. I have these at a 13 din. In hindsight, I probably only need the dins at like 11 or 12. That's what I have the rest of my dins on. I love Look bindings, and even I can show you on my daily driver, I have the Look SBX 12. And while I raced on Rossignol skis, back then all you could do is have Look bindings. So I had, I forget what they're called. It wasn't a pivot, but it had that long heel on the Look race binding. Right now you can buy the newer version of this binding for $450, which I believe is around the MSRP back when I bought these, maybe give or take 50 bucks. Now the big thing that makes Look bindings different, specifically this pivot, is that the components are primarily made out of metal. Now obviously with only using these for one season, I can't tell you how they'll hold up, but anecdotally, from working in shops and going to ski swaps, I have seen these things last for 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years with zero issues. I think that there's a lot of merit to wanting a pair of Look pivots because of the metal components. Even when I did Zach's video of going through his ski, I don't know if you want to say a quiver because he only uses like 2 of the skis, but looking at some of his old skis, a lot of those skis, the bindings, when they're Look pivots, have outlived the skis themselves, especially someone like Zach who is using those particular skis in a freestyle setting where he's beating them up against rails. The bindings are lasting. But now that we've talked about all of this, let me tell you my first-hand experience running Look Pivot 18s for this season. So I have a lot to say about it. Now, there's a lot of good with this ski, especially if you're a freestyle skier. We'll kind of cover through that, and then we'll talk about some of the drawbacks. But I do think that this binding is really well designed for freestyle skiers. It's got more swing tolerance so that if you're kind of spinning and land, at least the way I understand it is that it allows the binding to not pop out, especially when you land. But my understanding is that for freestyle skiers, it's very, very helpful. But let's talk about some of the good things. The build quality is good. Everything runs smoothly, it lasts well, it feels good, kind of having all metal joints. It didn't feel cheap, it feels good when you click it in, though it doesn't quite click the same, but feeling it on your feet, feeling it in your hand, it feels like a premium product. The big plus I felt with this binding, honestly, was in soft powder, because this binding does not have a plate, it's not lifted up. Your foot is about as close to the snow as it can get. There's nothing separating you. You feel every little thing. Now, similar to DPS skis, that can be really good when you have soft, fresh powder. It's also, with soft skis, it's nice to feel that gradual flex. It gives you a good connection to the snow. So I can see why people are so drawn to the Look pivot. The flip side of that is that these are not very good at carving. So let's talk about the cons. These, for most people, are totally unnecessary. You are spending $450 for a binding that is not even serving you very well. When you have a ski that is this close, I found that different to my other Bent 110 review, it was more difficult to carve these because you're not getting the same edge angles that you normally get with a traditional binding. Now, if you're just using these on a powder ski, that doesn't matter, right? You can use these in the right setting and they're really effective, really durable, and really well made. But if you're gonna put these on a daily driver or a 90mm width ski underfoot, it is total overkill and does not do the right job. It's also a little bit more touchy when you're holding it on edge. I also felt like I had to be more gradual with my flexing of the boot. I said, I feel like I can't hammer the end of my turns with pressure like I normally would because I'm so close to that soft ski. The other con, I felt like with these bindings, the way that they twist, you have to make sure that they're lined up when you put your heel on them, and you don't get that kind of click or sound you get from a traditional binding to know that you're kind of locked in. So sometimes you put your heel in and you're not even sure if you did it right. That's another, slight downside. So what would I score these? Well, that's almost impossible because for a powder ski, I do think it's a good binding. I do think it's reliable. And I do think that if you're gonna keep these for a long time, this is an effective tool. I would have no problem putting these on another powder ski. The problem becomes you're paying a premium, and as soon as you get outside of either powder skiing or freestyle skiing, you really are missing out on the value of this product. So here, I'm gonna give it 2 different scores. In the right setting, this is a great product. In the wrong setting, it's really not a good product, and I think that people buy them because they're expensive, because they are premium made, they're well built, but you're ending up paying a premium for a product that's not really providing you extra value. So here's my score. I'm gonna break this up into 2. For the average all mountain ski, I'm talking 100 millimeters and less, something you wanna carve on, something that you're going to be daily driving, I think that this is like a 5.9 out of 10. It's overpriced, it's complicated, it doesn't click in a solid way, it's hard to put on when you crash to get it like back locked in, you have to like relock the heel. It really gets points for being well made, honestly, in that setting. That's kind of what's carrying its score. And if you're a freestyle skier, that's gonna give you good value. But if you are just the average person who doesn't go in the park and is just carving like me or wants to do a little bit of off-trail skiing, this is not a good bang for your buck. If it's a soft ski and you wanna really feel soft snow, then it becomes worthwhile. But for just the average person carving, you are not getting extra value for your money, and you can't get the typical edge angles you would normally get, and then it throws off all of your timing. So for the average person, go with the Look SPX 12, that's what I use. It gives you the right edge angles, it's like 1/3 the price, and it is well made by Look. But for the second half of the review, if you're taking this on a powder ski or a freestyle ski, it feels great. It feels nice feeling the fresh powder underfoot. But if it's a ski that gets pinged around on icy settings or something's under the surface, you will feel that more than your typical binding. So for me, on a powder ski, just a pure powder ski or soft snow, I'm gonna give it an 8.9 out of 10. It really is a well-made binding. It really does perform well on soft snow being that close. And I do think you're getting your money's worth, right? Because I could put this on my next 3 or 4 pair of powder skis and feel like, okay, I got my money's worth out of the bindings. But just know what this binding is good at so you can get your money's worth and not feel like you wasted your resources on a $450 binding. I've never owned a pair of these before other than like very early race models because they were so expensive, and I'm so glad that I tested these to see and share with you guys what they're actually good at and where they struggle. It's definitely on the pricey end, but if you're looking for the best powder experience, I can highly recommend these. So if it's just a powder ski, or if you're a powder and freestyle person, I think this is an 8.9 out of 10. I'm not gonna pretend to be a freestyle person, but on powder, having that close connection to the ski was very rewarding and just a very satisfying feeling. So, it's kind of a double-edged sword. If you're just looking for a daily driver, 5.9, but if you're looking for a powder binding, it's 8.9. It's probably closer to an 8 if you take into account the price, but I think overall you're gonna get more years out of it, so the value probably evens out in that way. But just so now you know more about the Look Pivot 18 specifically that I tried, it's a premium tool for a very specific set of circumstances. Now, if you want my honest opinion, look, if you're watching this, if you wanna print money, make an all-metal version of the Look SPX. This is a nice binding, and a lot of people don't even realize that it's such a good value, and if you wanted to make something that felt premium, I'm sure people would pay a premium price for an all-metal Look SPX. Now, I'm not sure if there's a reason they don't make it all-metal. I don't know if that weight would interfere, but you look at like an Atomic ski or some of those Oakley skis, they put on pretty beefy bindings, so I don't know. I would love to see a premium all-metal Look SPX. It seems like an easy way to print money. I like Look bindings. They're my favorite bindings that are currently on the market. I would love to see an all-metal SPX. Maybe you could call it the SPX Pivot, who knows, but that's my free advice to Look. And then people could stop misusing the pivots. So anyway, that's the end of the video. If you like these kind of independent reviews, please consider using my affiliate links down below. I will have affiliate links for both the SPX and the Pivot, and that is a free way of supporting our channel and what allows us to not take money from Look or any other ski brand and give you my honest opinion. Like I said before, I spent my own money on both of those skis and both of those bindings to give you my totally independent opinion. I also have memberships down below. I'll include the Ko-Fi and Venmo if you guys want to make donations. I only include those because sometimes people will leave super chats on YouTube. Google does take half of that, so just an alternative for you guys. I don't care if you do it. I certainly appreciate it, but I know that just you guys watching my videos is what allows me to make this kind of content. So more than anything, thank you for watching. Thank you for taking time out of your day. And as always, I'll see you in the next one. See ya.